right, welcome in to the Pharmacist and the Photog Games, Grooves, and Grub. I don't know if you hear. Do you hear I hear some trumpets, and that would be signaling the start of college football.
Oh, I thought maybe you was playing Timmy trumpet.
No, it's like the heralding of just all that is good in the world. Football season officially kicked off yesterday.
I got some high school stuff Friday night and yesterday.
Yeah.
I had 4 games.
Yeah,
so I'm geeked.
Yeah, it's there were some good games. I didn't sit down and watch any one particular game like straight through. Of course, the Iowa State Kansas State game, what they dubbed Pharmageddon, was played over it was played over in Dublin, which I didn't realize they were playing it in Ireland. I don't really know why they bothered, but okay. I'm sure one of those two schools would have loved to have hosted that game on their home field. But, we had Iowa State, for what it's worth, preseason number 22 knocked off number 17, Kansas State, 24-21. So
I did see that the Iowa State quarterback's father got into a brawl after the game with his other son.
Is
that right?
I tried to dig a little bit on that.
I saw that and I'm like,
it just seemed really absurd.
Hold on a minute.
I didn't follow up on it. And
he's fighting his other son. Nuts.
I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, college football definitely underway.
Mead.
Yeah, no kidding. He must have been hanging out in the pub prior to the game. But it really gets rolling next week. I mean, you've got number 1 Texas against number 3 Ohio State. That's a heavy big boy matchup for the first real week of the season. And with the playoffs, I guess the way it is now, you can't say that a loss there knocks either one of those teams out for sure. Obviously, it would take a lot to have them fall that far, but it sets the tone.
That's a national championship caliber game.
Absolutely.
And of course, we all know Ohio State likes to get their butts kicked by SEC schools, so I didn't say that. Yeah. Sorry, Buckeyes fans.
I will definitely be a Texas Longhorn fan that day because I am not. There aren't too many.
Well, they're in the league now.
Yeah, they're in the league, and I will typically pull for other SEC schools, but unless it's Tennessee
or Louisville.
Yeah, Tennessee is. They're up there. And Ohio State fans, I think, alongside Tennessee fans, are probably two of the worst fan bases in college football. So, I'll be a Texas Longhorn fan that day for sure. I counted like 50 games next Saturday in major college football. So there should be something for everyone. And for us, of course, around lunchtime, we're going to be tuned in to Kentucky versus Toledo.
Yeah. Game's already down to 7.5. What did it start out at like 13.5?
I was going to say 13, 14, down to 7.5. The over/under is 48.5.
I think the last time we talked about it, it was 8.5. Now it's down to 7.5. I expect by game time to be, maybe like 6.5. I don't know. Somebody asked me the other day, give me one word to describe what you've seen out of Kentucky so far. I haven't seen them other than one practice we were allowed to attend after media day, and I think I've told you, like, undersized, no depth. The running backs look good. They look like SEC caliber running backs. I don't know. They had their second scrimmage. We're recording this on a Sunday, so they had their second scrimmage like 8 days ago on a Saturday, and we still have a quarterback controversy, to be honest with you, from what I've gathered. Cutter Boley is nipping at the heels of Zach Calzada. A lot of people are saying, like, if Zach goes through this season and doesn't win some games, that Cutter will be the starter probably, towards the end of the season. The only reason that Calzada is going to be the starter on day one is because of what UK is paying him. But I don't know what to expect. Toledo, picked to finish second in their league. Kentucky's got to get off to a fast start. We talked about this last time we talked. I just this is kind of a no-win situation for Mark Stoops.
Right, I agree.
They got to win.
And if you win, then everybody's like,
you should have
just
won.
beat Toledo.
Right.
I mean, Toledo, they've received more votes in the AP Top 25 preseason Top 25 than Kentucky did. You know, they were 8.5 or 8-5 last year. They beat Pitt in a bowl game. They've got a pretty high-powered offense.
They didn't just beat Pitt either.
Yeah. I mean, they
washed them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like, again, like you said, no-win situation.
It is.
And I don't know how much – well, who knows? We could come out of that game with more questions than answers. But
well, not to interrupt you, but we still don't know what a Bush-Hamden offense looks like because they were so bad offensively last year. I still believe that with the 2 running back transfers that they got, that Stoops is going to want to run the ball a lot. So that to me is a big question mark. What's this? What does a Bush-Hamden offense look like? Is the offensive line going to be any better than it was last year? It can't be any worse. Who's going to step up in that wide receiver room? What are they going to do defensively?
Yeah.
Are their linebackers any good?
Yeah, I feel like they've got to take some chances.
Who's going to put pressure on the quarterback defensively because that defensive line is so small? But yet Stoops calls them twitchy.
Yeah.
Which to me is just, code for we don't have a lot over there.
Well, he did say after the second scrimmage he liked what he saw out of the defense a little bit more than in game 1.
Yeah, because the tackling apparently was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, which man, I can spin a roulette wheel on Stoops seasons and pinpoint teams that didn't tackle well. That if there's ever been an Achilles heel of Kentucky defenses, they've been poor tackling teams most of the time. Now, there have been a few seasons there where our defense was really good, but, man, it seems like when faced with athletes in the open field, there's a lot of, Olay type stuff going on out there, and it just kind of baffles you why they can't be better at wrapping guys up. But hopefully twitchy means able to get to guys that are streaking towards the sideline.
We'll see.
But, it's going to be fun to watch what happens with this team. I mean, we're both holding out hope that they can surprise everybody a little bit. It's going to take some surprises with this schedule, that's for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just looking into the season, there's one particular Saturday. I think it's November the 1st. I don't know if you've looked very far ahead into the schedule, but on November the 1st, at least based on preseason rankings, there are, I think, 7 games that are between teams in the top 20, maybe top 25. But that day, just for the wives and girlfriends out there, don't try to plan anything on November the 1st. That's going to be an important day if your significant other is a sports fan, a football fan. There's a lot of incredible games that day. So let's keep that one at home for the guys and gals if you're a football fan. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm pretty stoked though because I love college football season. I will watch anybody play. Yeah. And starting this week, I didn't look to see, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple of games through the week that, there'll be teams that you didn't even realize had a football team. That'll be the schools that are playing, but they'll be on TV somewhere. They'll be able to find them and watch those games. So, yeah, I'll be watching some football this week for sure.
It's definitely an exciting time of the year. I even made a couple of bets this weekend. Yeah, there were college games, and I let the betting app sit for a couple of months after the college basketball season was over. I bet a couple of NBA games, and I've showed you before, I'm a $2 here and a $4 there. But yeah, I am excited about college football.
No, you're not betting Major League Baseball?
No, sorry, I am not. No. I won't be betting baseball. I don't know that I know how to bet baseball, to be honest with you.
I don't either. There's just too many games in Major League Baseball for guys to just decide, I'm going to take tonight off, because truly do some of those games matter. They ultimately no. But anyway, football, here, and I'm here for it. So,
Well, let me ask you. Speaking of football and the SEC, what do you think of the conference's decision to go to 9 games, a 9-game league schedule?
well, obviously, I guess the biggest impact there is it takes away the school's ability to, schedule a cupcake to bring in some revenue and pad the record a little bit.
Well, they'll still be able to schedule 2.
Yeah, but that's not 3, which Kentucky kind of needs in order to to get bowl eligible some years. But
Right.
I think for some schools maybe that's a good thing. I don't know in a year like this for Kentucky if it necessarily is. It's just another game of playing against big dudes and getting guys hurt and that kind of thing.
The good news is it looks like that the SEC is going to mandate that they schedule their rival. I think the SEC verbiage in the release was that you're going to play 9 conference games, but then they also want each school to schedule, a Power 5 or a, what they call a Big 4 conference or whatever it is. And that's because I'm sure they've heard for the last couple of years, if you go to the 9-game schedule, you're going to eliminate some of those rivalries like Kentucky and Louisville,
Right,
or South Carolina and Clemson, or, some of those other Florida State, things like that. So it sounds like the Kentucky-Louisville game will still be on, which is good because I think that's a game everybody looks forward to.
right.
Now, granted, Louisville is probably moving steadily ahead of Kentucky at this point, but
Yeah, I think last season was probably definitely a harbinger for things to come. We had their number for several years in a row there. Even a couple of years we shouldn't have beaten them. We managed
right,
to.
and that was going to be my point. Is you never know with that game. You can throw I know it's cliche, but you can throw the records out. Kentucky has won some games when fans least expected it. Louisville's won some games when Kentucky fans thought for sure they were going to win that game. But it's all about the moolah.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, it guarantees that Kentucky will probably never likely win an SEC title.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know that thought had ever entered my mind.
I mean, they've played around with it. They had a chance against Georgia a couple years ago, and
they had a couple seasons where had the chips fallen a little bit differently, then they would have been in the conversation. But yeah, with the addition of Texas and just the expansion of the league and the quality of the expansion, that's it's not like we brought in.
Well, and there's still talk of 2 more teams coming in from the ACC. So, if Florida State or
was it North Carolina? They
definitely, I think, want North Carolina for basketball reasons. Yeah. But you keep hearing it's either going to be Florida State or I don't think Clemson. I don't think they would invite Clemson in. But regardless, Florida State has a long-standing tradition in football. So
yeah, that would be another one where, well, there aren't a whole lot of schools you could invite into the SEC that would cause any kind of problems for me from a basketball standpoint.
I agree.
I don't. We're not afraid of anybody
in
basketball. Football, you're kind of like, man, that's the last thing we need. I mean, granted, Florida State's been down for a year or two, but they have the ability to bounce back pretty quickly, given all the athletes they can choose from down there in Florida. So, that just gives us another rung on the ladder to have to try to navigate. But yeah. That could be tough for Kentucky. I don't know. I don't know where it ends. I mean, they're talking about, was it the Big East and the ACC? Yeah, the Big East and the ACC teaming up to make a super conference. So we're really close to just having about 4.
But I can't see St. John's building a football stadium or anything like that, and suddenly playing football.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
That would be tough for them.
You can't have a league where only 6 or 8 of the schools play football and 6 or 8 don't.
Right. That's true. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, I wouldn't mind having North Carolina in the Southeastern Conference, but again, they just the whole geography of conferences anymore. You can just throw that out the window. They should just give them. I mean, we're probably only just a couple of years away from them losing those names and just being corporately, some corporate entity. But
maybe so.
Anyway, but switching gears a little bit from the basketball front, we did get Andrea Yelovich on campus. So the Mark Pope 2026 team is
officially
whole
set.
As far as we know, they're all in town. Hopefully starting to work out. But yeah, Yelovich, like Steve said, we're recording on Sunday the 24th. He got here last Saturday, and popped up actually at the Cincinnati Open tennis tournament with Coach Pope on Sunday. They were spotted there. So, but yeah, getting him in on campus and plugging him in, I think is going to be important. He's that prototypical European long, lean. He's a 3-point shooter.
Stretch forward.
Yeah, stretch forward. He's 6'9" and maybe 200 pounds. I don't know. But I'm thinking we're going to maybe need to get a little bit more out of him on the defensive side of the ball, given what we don't know about Quaintance at this point.
Who finally passed his driver's test.
Yeah, which I think they said he's got a
heads up on the road.
He's got a Maybach. I heard. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but a guy that.
Are you being serious?
That's what I read last week. Now I don't know if that was a joke, but I mean, if you're not aware, Maybach is basically a luxury version of a Mercedes.
I'm guessing it's probably checks in at about 150 plus.
Oh, I would say
200 grand.
I don't think you can touch a Maybach for under 200.
Wow.
You're probably I'd say closer to 5 than you are to 2.
Well, now that you mention that, I was over at the Coliseum for a volleyball fan day / blue-white scrimmage, and I remember seeing. I couldn't tell what make and model, but I remember now seeing a car in the parking lot that kind of resembled something like that. It's kind of a elegant looking, flashy car.
Yeah, I mean they're basically a Mercedes that has undergone a fairly significant bunch of upgrades.
Well, I'm not going to judge him. It's his moolah.
Yeah, well, I mean, good for him.
Cash.
Good for him. But I think about when both of my kids first got their license. I can't imagine turning them loose in something that costs more than my house. But
yeah, he just got his driver's license.
So anyway,
I'd
hopefully
hate to see what that insurance policy is worth.
Yeah, we're not. I've not heard too much this week though about where he stands. They released a little bit of video of Quaintance rehabbing, doing some like almost like calisthenic type things on the knee, and initially I was reading some stuff that kind of made it sound like maybe Pope was backing off the, he's going to be ready earlier than we thought kind of thing. So I'm thinking now they're going to probably pump the brakes on that a little bit and try to get as much mileage out of everybody else.
No pun intended.
Yeah, before
we're talking about cars.
Before they put Jaden out on the floor, which is fine by me. I mean, if we can win early games and even some of those tough ones early on without rushing him back, I think that's probably prudent.
I hate to sound like John Calipari, but the league games are so much more important than those made-for-TV games. Right. I know the fans want to beat Duke and Carolina and Indiana and Louisville and schools like that, but, yeah, if you can get him back, get 5 or 6 games under his belt before that league schedule starts.
Yeah, the game against Louisville in November, mid-November.
It's the third game of the season.
Not nearly as important to me as when we're looking at the end of the season and how this team's coming together. I'd much rather have that kid healthy late in the year than have him, beat up on Louisville, which I just don't want to see him get out there and get hurt before he's ready. But that that'll happen. We're at the point in the sports season where it's like the giant snowball kind of about to roll down the hill. We've got football starting, and then all of a sudden we're looking over our shoulder here in Central Kentucky. It's like here's basketball, and oh wait, we've got thoroughbred horse racing is going on. Keeneland, which is a special time for us in Kentucky. It's a magical 3 weeks, and when you can get all of those things to kind of happen at the same time, when you've got football and a day at Keeneland, and we might even, I think I read even there was one scenario where, I don't know if it was one of the UK's exhibition games or something, but a basketball game where you could potentially have the trifecta that weekend. But I got to go back and look at that schedule again. But Keeneland and football double for Kentucky is
I think Texas is here. Texas is here. Football. Texas is here on a Keeneland Saturday.
Yeah.
So Texas travels pretty well. So I'm assuming they're going to travel really well that Saturday. And if Kentucky is
maybe better than we thought.
Well, I was going to say if Kentucky's like 1-4 at that point, or 1-5, whatever, that there could be a lot of burnt orange in that stadium.
Could be. There very well could be. I'm hoping. The bad thing is when that happens, everybody in Kentucky wants the football kickoff to be an evening, a 7:00 kickoff or whatever, so that you can spend the whole day tailgating and
getting lubed up
at the racetrack and make it nice and rowdy by the time football kicks off. So hopefully that'll work out. But anyway, we've been watching a little bit of golf today and this weekend.
I just wanted to bring up one more UK point. John Wall.
Oh yeah,
officially turning in his paperwork.
When was the last time he actually set foot on an NBA court?
2 years ago.
2 years? Okay.
I think it's 2 years ago.
Seems like, gosh, it feels like it's been longer than that even.
But he was essentially retired, but I guess in the NBA, any of those professional leagues, if you want your pension, you got to do the paperwork. So he is officially retired. Mm-hmm. But just to mention the fact that first Calipari team will probably live in infamy as arguably the most fun that Kentucky fans have had around here with a team. Wall and Cousins and Bledsoe made that team fun, exciting, and really, truly changed the way the rest of the country looked at Kentucky basketball.
True.
Kentucky was a cool school, and if you remember those couple of years, even when Wall, Cousins, and Bledsoe left, you had Jay-Z and Drake, and you had all kinds of significant pop culture icons coming in to watch games.
Yeah.
I remember we did an interview with Magic Johnson one night. It was just fun. And the thing about Wall, he kind of became a big star because of the internet. If you remember, he was the original mixtape guy.
Yeah.
His mixtape fascinated people because of his athleticism and his speed. And he was just kind of it's cliche again, but he's just one of those guys that doesn't come along very, very often. Mm-hmm. And totally changed the vibe about Kentucky basketball there for maybe about 6 or 7 years. And then suddenly Cal's getting every top-rated guard recruit in America coming in. John Wall kind of paved the way for some of those dudes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason, that so many of those young guys wanted to come play in Cal's system, because the results of watching John Wall, and we've seen it and are still seeing it with the guys who are now lighting it up in the NBA.
Yeah.
All these Cal guards are still getting it done, and they're all superstars for the most part. There have been very few busts.
And the fascinating thing about it all was Wall and Cousins both, and maybe Bledsoe, I don't remember, but they were really late recruits. Because Cal didn't get here until April, and I'm not sure that Wall got here until maybe like June even, because I'm pretty sure Kentucky fans were sweating that whole thing out. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I think at some point they're going to have to put his number up in the rafters, that number 11.
Yeah.
He kind of transcended things when he got here and paved the way for a lot of Cal recruits.
Well, and enjoyed watching too, just what's happened in the last year and a half since Cal left, is that Wall's been pretty outspoken about remaining a Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
He pays his respects to Cal for sure, but he also has paid plenty of respect and continues to do so as far as his love for Kentucky, University of Kentucky, and Lexington in general.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see him, popping up a little bit more
that would
in
be
the
fun.
Lexington area.
I think Kentucky fans would show him a lot of love if he made an appearance or two.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So
anyway, go ahead.
We'll talk a little bit of golf.
Okay. Yes.
So just finished up earlier today the Tour Championship. Scotty Scheffler did show that he's actually human.
Yep.
He was 4 down like he was last week, but today he could not come back and win. Tommy Fleetwood finally breaks through and wins his first PGA Tour event. I mean, if you're going to make one your first, the Tour Championship and a $10 million check is a pretty good way to do it.
So close.
He has been
for 5 years.
Right. You didn't realize how close the guy has been.
So close.
Yeah, and I've always liked him for some reason. He just always has seemed to be, pretty laid back, pretty chill with everything that happens around him. And yeah, like you said, he's been incredibly close for years. So to be able to finally get that lead and close the deal.
I like Fleetwood.
Pretty impressive. So he wins today. I think he ended up winning. I think his final margin was about 3 strokes, 2 or 3 for sure.
I thought Scotty was going to make a move.
I did too.
Because he kind of was lurking back in there and, 3 or 4 shots back, early in the week. And I thought, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, last week at the BMW, he came from 4 down on the final day. And, he was setting up same way for today, 4 back, but just couldn't. I watched more yesterday. He had about 3 or 4 putts yesterday that were makeable birdie putts inside of about 12 feet that he didn't knock down. So that could have been the difference for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool to see Tommy Fleetwood break through. I guess this week we'll have the announcement of the Ryder Cup team on Wednesday. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, because Keegan Bradley is made a strong case to be a playing captain. What do you do with that?
He's a captain. If he wants to play, let him play.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we definitely know who's going to be their going out as their number 1, and that'd be Scotty.
Yeah. There's going to be some names on there that are going to be Ryder Cup rookies for sure. So who knows? Maybe that's what this Ryder Cup team needs.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a whole lot of possibilities as far as what he's going to do with those wild card picks. I think the initial 6 are pretty locked in. I'd have to go back and look at the list, but guys, there are a couple of rookies, Ryder Cup rookies in that locked in 6. So I'd look for Bradley to pick some guys, obviously in that second group who have been there, So
yeah,
we don't want to lose the Ryder Cup I think it's at Bethpage this year up in New York. So the fans will be rowdy for sure. They are always rowdy up there. So yeah, I'm anxious to see what happens with that, because I feel like Bradley's playing well enough. He should play, but then where does that leave him? I think it's tough to be a captain and play. I'm not sure who his co-captains are this year.
I don't know.
Associate
either,
captains. I can't remember. I had that stored away there at one point, and I've forgotten it. But anyway, we'll be watching that.
You mentioned the BMW. They played that at Caves Valley, which is just outside of Baltimore, and I've actually taken a tour of that place. And back in 2005, they hosted the NCAA tournament, and that was the year that Kentucky and J.B. Holmes, when he still went by John, when J.B. and his guys went up there, they were ranked 7th in the country, and they went up there and played, and we actually went up there to cover it. And it's right outside of Baltimore. It's a great layout. It's a lot of this, a lot of that. but I just remembered that they have cabins on the course because they have a lot of people who come in and stay and play. But it was a great looking layout, and I just remember Kentucky went out there in the opening round, and they were 24th. And I can remember Brian Craig, who was the head coach at the time, told us, he goes, "We're praying for rain," and we're like, "Huh? We're the longest team in America. We need rain so that we can take all that trouble out of play." Thunderstorm that night. I kid you not. Kentucky went from 24 to 9th, and then they ended up finishing 7th in the country that year, and Holmes was the SEC Player of the Year that year. But I just wanted to mention that Caves Valley, where they played the BMW, and Scotty made those incredible shots, especially that one at 17.
The chip
Just
in, yeah.
Nuts.
That was nuts.
That's a great location if you ever get an opportunity. Caves Valley. It was fun.
Yeah. For us locally here today, Steve and I were yesterday and today both texting back and forth. We've been watching our guy here, Tony Wise from Georgetown, playing in the U.S. Senior Amateur Championship at Oak Hills Country Club in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And
it was moved from North Carolina because of damage that they suffered during the hurricane a year ago.
Yeah. So they moved it out to a pretty nice venue, Oak Hills. But yeah, Tony, yesterday he shot. He was one over yesterday, I think.
Yes.
He shot one over yesterday, and he was in the top 15, 20 or so.
Because the leader was only -4.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough golf course.
Right.
So
he texted me and said as much.
Yeah. Really difficult golf course. But, we both got a little charge this morning when we started watching. Tony got out on a heater and went 4 under through his first 6.
Right.
Got as high as a second on the
he was tied
leaderboard.
for second.
Yeah. And then hit a little rough spot on his back nine.
4 bogeys.
So, but ended up shooting an even par round today.
Yeah.
But he's still inside the top 20.
He is
I think we
tied
say
for 18th.
18th, okay. And so that's going to get him. They cut after today. They cut today and go to the match play.
He said he needed to finish in the top 64. He was very confident, obviously, in that. Said the course was playing really tough, but he was hitting the ball pretty well, pretty straight. He felt good. He started on the back 9.
Right.
And then he comes in and he immediately bogeys the 10th hole, which was a par 3.
Right.
Which I texted you. I'm going, oh Lord, this ain't going well.
Yeah.
Just bogey that par 3 anyway. The other thing of interest is that he said if he finished in the top 64, not only does he go to match play, but he gets an automatic invitation into the British Senior Amateur,
which is really cool.
I'm like, dude.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this before on here, but I'll just real quickly recap. I went to high school with Tony, graduated with him way back in the day, 1988. Tony, when we beginning from about our 7th grade year, he lettered in tennis, baseball, basketball, soccer, and football. Mm-hmm. The guy never played golf in high school because back then it interfered with the other sports. Mm-hmm. So you got a guy who was an unbelievable athlete at pretty much anything he attempted to do. He played both college baseball and football. And then decides I'm going to really concentrate on this golf thing.
Well, he was a high school basketball coach.
Yeah.
In the county over at Franklin County High School. And I kind of got burnt out on it. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on my golf. Moved to Henry Clay, where he's he's just an everyday teacher at Henry Clay High School. But he's on a tour called the Amateur Tour. And I know he's won more than a dozen tournaments on that tour. Qualified last year for the U.S. Senior Open. Not the amateur,
but the Open against legit PGA Tour players.
First time he saw the course, he played a practice round with BJ Singh.
Yeah.
And I am thrilled to death for this guy. I think I think he could make some money playing golf.
Yeah.
But to qualify, just to qualify for this senior amateur, he goes out on a course he's never played, shoots 66, 66, 69. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, that's
it's nuts.
Yeah, I don't identify with anything we've just talked about.
Yeah,
from a golf standpoint.
And that was a couple of weeks ago at the Son of Hannah Senior Amateur Championship in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
that he goes out and wins that thing.
Yeah, so we're going to be over the next few days. We're definitely going to be glued to our phones at least to watching Tony's progress. Hopefully in the match play. Hopefully he can. Tony's always been. He was always confident. He could talk a little trash. I think maybe he's. I'm not. I've not had the pleasure of watching him in a match play type situation, and he's not going to be a gamesmanship type guy.
No.
But he can definitely smell blood in the water.
Yes. He's very confident. He doesn't hit it a mile. He's just. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but he's like that, like the ultimate, the guy that you want playing in a scramble because he's just straight as an arrow, straight as an arrow. And then when he gets it, when he gets it in within 170 yards, he's deadly with his irons. He's just really good, and I'm proud of him, and I hope that he can bring home a championship.
Yeah, it would be really cool to see him to advance. Pretty far in this. We'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah.
The only other thing I really had sports wise, I don't know about you, we wanted to talk a little bit about the potential for Major League Baseball realignment, which
just another
popped up
why I understand baseball is its own worst enemy, and it has been for 30 years, 40 years. But why mess with something that just needs a little an adjustment here and there,
right?
Not a complete overhaul.
The biggest thing that Major League Baseball probably needs to worry about is the fact that their collective bargaining agreement is set to end December of 2026.
Oh, so here we go.
So
again.
That's very soon, and unless something changes drastically, you're going to have a work stoppage in this 2027 season. And here you've got, for all accounts, TV viewership is up. You got a lot of teams are seeing better attendance actually in the ballparks. You've got probably the most famous baseball player on the planet right now is Ohtani, bringing in a global interest into the game.
Well, and you've also got a guy like Aaron Judge who, forget about chicks. Kids dig the long ball.
Yeah.
And he, I don't care where he's playing, but there are kids everywhere.
Yeah.
Wearing 99 jerseys.
Well, and he's literally and figuratively larger than life.
He is Babe Ruth. He is
a big dude.
He is this generation's Babe Ruth, and Ohtani is this generation's unicorn.
Yeah, just nuts. I mean, so you've got all these things going on. You've got even small market teams like the Brewers are playing really well, and they're going to find a way to screw this up. I'm confident of that.
Rob Manfred, the commissioner, comes out and he starts hinting around that we're going to make some changes, and we're going to have 2 more expansion teams, and then there's a possibility we might do away with the American League and the National League. I'm like, you can add expansion teams all you want. I get it. Some of these cities probably deserve a pro franchise, but then when you start tinkering with doing away with the National League or the American League. I mean, the National League was founded in 1876.
Yeah.
It's been around for 150
years.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm all about the expansion. That's fine.
I agree. Baseball needs something.
Yeah.
But you can't just recreate the wheel.
Yeah. I mean, they're you don't need to break it down completely because I feel like we said, they're headed in the right direction. You've got game times down. They're shortened over the last year and a half, which is good. That'll keep people interested. That'll make you more likely maybe to go attend. That's probably one of the reasons you have more seats or butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Games aren't lasting as long. So people are more likely to go. But, the whole potential for realignment is not going to happen until they get everything worked out. You've got stuff going on with, I guess, both Oakland and I think it's Tampa Bay trying to get their stadiums straightened out. And then you got the potential expansion. And right now, I think Nashville, Salt Lake City, Portland, Charlotte, and Montreal, which, hey, sorry, you had your chance. They're all in line for a potential expansion franchise. So until those things all get hammered out, they're not going to be doing any realignment. I saw a couple of the maps this week of the potential, way they would like to realign them. And I'm like, sure, yeah, that makes total sense. But going back to your point, you kind of have to look at what we've got going on here traditionally. And they're like, oh, it'll cut down on wear and tear on the teams for travel and all that. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
You're not going to get me feeling sorry for any professional athlete these days having
with the money they're making,
having to fly, in their cushy seat, from one side of the country
Charter
to the other.
jets
Give me a break.
with leg room.
You are playing a game.
Yeah.
So that argument not going to fly with me. Just like they don't want to play back-to-backs in the NBA.
Keep the tradition. That's the one thing baseball does have going for it more than any other league out there is they have the tradition. Kids still want to know who the home run leader is. Still want to know, who the Cy Young winner is going to be and stuff like that. And the World Series, baseball has more tradition than any other professional league going. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, there aren't many unwritten rules in basketball and football. It's you've got all these, it's all this etiquette and unwritten rule kind of thing in baseball that kind of is quirky and sometimes it's dumb. But man,
steal a sign. Guess what? I'm buzzing one by the towel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I love that. I love the fact that if you do something that shows up a team, chances are I feel bad for the next guy coming up in your lineup because that guy's going to get plunked.
That's right.
Whether he had anything to do with it or not, he's going to get hit. So, yeah, baseball, again, sometimes just can't seem to get out of their own way.
That's right.
And I'm afraid we're headed towards that same thing. Hopefully I'll be wrong, and maybe
wrong too.
Cooler heads will prevail, and they'll figure this out before 2027. But anyway, anything else in sports? I don't have anything else.
No. I'm going to give a shout-out to my buddy Caden Fox, who recently, within the last year, maybe it's been 2 years now, I've been helping him out with some golf for Special Olympics. Won a region in Lexington in a skills championship because he's a first-year player. He's not allowed to go out and actually play 18 holes for Special Olympics. Won a skills championship, and then yesterday competed in the state championships and finished fourth. So,
cool.
Yeah, very cool for a kid who's never really had an interest or played golf, and then suddenly he's hitting a driver and he's hitting an iron and he's learning golf etiquette and stuff like that. So it was very fun. It was very worthwhile. So I'm just glad he had a good time with it and finished fourth.
That's awesome.
So
anything else on the agenda for that, or is it over for the season?
The golf season's over. His Special Olympics season is not over. They're still playing softball, and then pretty soon flag football starts. He plays that. And then basketball starts in the winter.
Awesome.
He's kind of a year-round guy with that stuff.
That's good. We'll have some stuff to follow locally. Other local, we mentioned, I guess 2 weeks ago, we mentioned our guy here, Trace Willhoite, in town getting called up to the high A with, I think in Brooklyn. Is that where he went? I think it was Brooklyn.
I can't remember.
Anyway, I think it was either in his first game or second game.
It's a bomb.
Dinger right off the bat.
Yep.
I mean, I think he's maybe hit 2 homers already in just a few games. So the kid's gonna hit the ball. I don't care what level he's at. So hopefully there's enough left in the season to possibly get him one more call up and get a look at a higher level. I'd love to see that happen, but we'll definitely be
he's
keeping
a
an eye on
Georgetown
that.
kid. Played at Great Crossing. Played college where?
He played a couple different places. He played down in Florida. He started out at Louisville. He went to Louisville for like a semester, and then I think Louisville's a good baseball school.
Yes.
So the writing was kind of on the wall there as far as, if I want to see the field soon, I'm gonna have to make a move, and so
Right.
he did. He
Paid
made a
off.
move, and he went to Lipscomb, and then I think he went to a junior college. I may have those reversed, but anyway, went to a couple different places to maximize his ability to get on the field, and it has paid off for sure.
Good for him.
But awesome. Music wise, this week we've
been busy.
Yeah, we both been a little bit busy, and from kind of a different standpoint for us, we both did something different, and that is we went and listened to some cover tunes
I'll let
on
you go
different
first.
sides of the coin, I guess. I went just the other night to listen to a group called Postmodern Jukebox, and there's actually a couple different groups that travel the country. It's an ensemble type group founded by a piano player out of New York City named Scott Bradley about 14, 15 years ago. But they take modern popular music, songs that anybody's going to recognize, but they revamp those and do arrangements in more vintage, like retro styles. They lean really heavy on early 20s stuff like swing and jazz. So I was sitting there listening to
cool.
these songs, and I would know the lyrics. I would know the next line that was coming up, but for the life of me, until they got to the chorus, I couldn't, with the exception of a handful of songs,
The cadence and
because of the
music.
way, because of the way they had changed the rhythms and things a little bit. It made it a lot of fun trying to identify, but there were a few things that were just instantaneous. I knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, this group, they covered everything from Green Day to Guns N' Roses, White Stripes. They covered Metallica. They covered the Spice Girls. They covered Def Leppard and Radiohead. So all over the map, just powerhouse vocalists. I mean, the vocalists, there were 3 female vocalists, 1 male vocalist, and then they had a group of musicians. They had a piano player, guitar, bass, drummer, and then they had a saxophone player and a trombone. So they were able to do, and all those musicians were very versatile because they all played multiple instruments throughout the night. So just depending on whatever song they were doing, they had the ability to mix it up. So really cool. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So, but you did some covers, a little different genre.
Well, and I'll preface it by saying, like, I'm real hesitant with the cover band thing.
Yeah.
I saw a Kiss cover band, and they were bad. And I've seen a couple other cover bands, and it's, you roll the dice with that stuff.
Yeah.
But one night of Queen at the Lexington Opera House. Shannon got the tickets. Her parents went, so it was fun. Didn't have high expectations at all. I actually lowered my expectations trying to enjoy the night, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Gary Mullen, and the band is called The Works, and they've been doing this since 2000. Gary Mullen is a British singer who won. It was kind of a predated version of like Star Search or America's Got Talent or something like that. But he did a Freddie Mercury style tribute on this show and won, and then was like, okay, I'm going to take this and try to make something of it. And they didn't start going out on tour with it until 2000. But he looks somewhat like Freddie with the pencil thin mustache and the dark hair and the flamboyant jumpsuits and stuff like that. Mannerisms. I mean, I have seen Freddie live, and of course we've all seen video of Freddie, but just the mannerisms and the way he prances around, and the band was tight. The guitar player was, I would rate him up there with some of the very best I've seen. And the stage show itself, they built the show to mimic what Queen's lighting and all that stuff, the riser, the drum riser, everything. So it was a heck of a night. It was about 3 hours long.
Wow.
And it was just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. It was very well done, and I was completely blown away by the whole thing. They were very good. So
Yeah, I've always
kudos
heard,
to Gary Mullen.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. There are two Queen tribute bands for the most part
I was
that
gonna
tour
say,
the country, and that's
yeah,
one of the
they
two
are
that
regarded
gets
as one of the 2 or 3
the top ones in the country.
legitimate Queen cover bands.
Yeah. He definitely gets a lot of good press because I have seen that, and I considered going to see him. I can't remember where it was. It's not been too long ago. I just remember seeing that name pop up, and I thought, that could be.
And Brian May has
see.
given them his seal of approval, so that says a lot.
When
Brian May, the guitar player from Queen, one of the original founding members, says, "Hey, you guys are good."
Yeah.
That probably means the world to those fellas.
I'm sure it does. Sticking in the same vein of covers, coming up this coming weekend, Labor Day weekend, there's a band here in the Lexington, Central Kentucky area called the Lexington Lab Band. Mm-hmm. They are an ensemble group of musicians. On any given, video that they put out, they may have 15 to 20 people in the studio at a given time. But they don't tour because they all have, real jobs outside of playing in this cover band. But they do this one major show every year. It's an outdoor venue. Just bring a lawn chair and you hang out. But they get the whole gang together for that, and they put on a 3-hour spectacle, basically.
Well, we talked about this the last time we were together, and then ironically, I went home, and I was like, oh, yeah, I need to look and see when that concert is. Tickets are already on sale. Guess who got tickets?
Yeah.
It's going to be at the Servant Heart Farm over in Wilmore. And like Dion was saying, they only play the one. I think they play, like, you've got a buddy that's going to go see him in Arizona. Yeah. But in our area, in Lexington and Central Kentucky, they're only going to do the one show. But Mike Vandermark is the guy who started the group back in 2013, and he basically played in a band, and he just said, I got tired of traveling and gigging on the small circuit, loading in, loading out. And he's like, hey, why don't we get the very best possible musicians in our area? Let's work on 3 or 4 songs a month and get them down, and we'll record them and put out videos on YouTube. And now they have 2.5 million subscribers. Yeah. They've had over 250,000 subscribers. They've had over 2.5 million views.
Right.
On 300 cover songs, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, when you say cover songs, you're like, we've all been there and done that. But
these guys are the real deal.
These covers, you could take the original version of these songs, and in every instance, you could remove the vocals from the real band and put it up against Lexington Lab Band's cover, and I defy you to figure out which one's the original, which one's the cover.
Well, And just to prove a point to Shannon to say, hey, here's who these guys are, I sent her links to all this stuff. So I go down that rabbit hole again. And a band like Boston, a very unique, clean sound, arguably a perfect rock sound. And you listen to the Lab Band, and it's like, how do you recreate that same exact sound? Yeah. And to your point, if you close your eyes and you took away the vocals, because nobody can sing like Brad Delp did, you would hear Tom Schultz and Barry Goudreau and those guys in there, and you're going, damn, they sound just like Boston.
I mean, it's crazy how good they are. They nail it every single time. And I
heard George Benson.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop at the rock.
No, they're all over the map. They've covered all kinds of stuff. And over the last 6-8 months, I've heard them do even a couple of covers that are a little bit heavier stuff. They covered, I think they covered Metallica and a couple other bands, and they've done a great job with them. And I'm not saying that they're, saying just compare the music, without the vocals. The vocals are pretty impressive as well.
Especially some of the female vocalists like doing Heart and some of that stuff.
Yeah,
Man,
there are
really
times
good.
I've listened to a few of the covers and I'm kind of like, oh, that vocal's really close, not quite where I would like it to be. But
Right.
then there are other times when you're just like, I got no complaints in how this
Right.
sounds at all. So yeah, that's a heck of a show.
I'm looking forward to
If you're
it.
in the Lexington, Central Kentucky, or if you're just if you enjoy live music and you're anywhere close to where we are, and there are tickets available, I
Well,
would say it's worth the drive.
The only thing that's left are lawn seats.
Yeah.
All of the other seats are sold out, completely sold out. So the only thing left are lawn seats. But we're there to listen to the music, so
Right.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, should be a really good show, no
Yeah.
doubt.
And I got my tickets for John Michael Montgomery.
There you go. That's good.
I did get those because I'm still holding out hope that it'll be like a cavalcade of stars coming to serenade him and send him off into retirement. But
very well could be.
I think that's going to be a sold out show and a local guy who's going to put a lot of energy into it. So, and he's got a lot of hits.
Yeah, no
We've
doubt.
talked about that too.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of hits, so I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah. There's
So-
I don't have a lot. There's
Which for me it'll be very cool because I told you the story about shooting him and his family playing
right.
at the Jessamine County Fairgrounds. He had just signed and he had not done any like national touring as an Atlantic recording artist. So this like brings it full circle.
Yeah.
Which will be very cool for me personally.
Yeah, that'll be a good show. I may still end up grabbing a ticket. When is that show again?
December 12th.
December. Okay. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Whether or not I can squeeze that one in or not. I'm going to try probably. There's a show this Friday night at Manchester Music Hall in Lexington that I may try to go check out.
Cosmic.
Yeah, Daniel Donato's
Yeah.
Cosmic Country. We'll see. A lot can happen in the next few days whether or not I can make it to a show on Friday
we're all
night.
day
But,
today.
yeah, that's the truth. We also go ahead.
No, I was just wanting to give a shout out to Stephen Cade, Nashville recording artist who came into town a couple of weeks ago. I think we didn't get a chance to talk about him, but he was playing at a homeless shelter in Lexington, the New Life Center. And I went over there for the TV station and struck up a conversation with he and his wife. And he's been texting me, and I sent him some video of the stuff I shot, did an interview with him, sent the interview to him so he could use it however he wants. But just a really, really cool thing. Called the tour it's part of a tour that he calls the Giving Guitars Foundation, where he presented a guitar, an acoustic guitar, to the New Life Center. And he basically said, I don't know if anybody can use it, but if somebody sees a guitar and they start playing it, maybe it'll bring, some cheer and some smiles to people's faces who are facing some life issues. So I just thought that was very sweet, and I hope he has a lot of success. But he was leaving Lexington and was heading to Anaheim, where he was going to sing the national anthem at the Angels game.
Wow.
Not Anaheim, but L.A.
Yeah.
And he's coming back here, I think in November, to play one of the vineyards in Richmond. So I may go see him.
Cool.
Because it's not really bro country, because it's kind of from a spiritual aspect, but his music's pretty good. His name's Stephen Cade.
Awesome.
If you want to look him up.
No doubt. We both there are weeks where it seems like we don't have a whole lot to talk
I know.
about on music or food, but this week we got all kinds of food that was good last week. You went was it before your Queen show you got?
Yeah, we
you
went
got
to
out?
Carson's.
Yeah, which is a Lexington
Yeah,
favorite.
They now have two locations, but we went to the one on Main Street. And I had eaten there once prior, and I'd had one of their burgers. But this time I went with the fried chicken with pork belly sage gravy.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Yeah, their fried chicken's good.
With the Yukon Gold garlic mashed potatoes. and the garlic teriyaki green beans. They were really good. So all in all, it was a great meal for $29.
Yeah, Carson's is good. I mean, it stays so freaking busy. You can't
Yeah.
can't even get in there. So
Shannon had the grilled ham and Gruyere cheese on sourdough with the bourbon pear chutney.
oh yeah, I think I've had that.
The mozzarella and the provolone cheese, smoked bacon, topped with an over easy egg.
Wow. Well, yeah,
She loved it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I'll put some pictures up. It was good
That all
stuff,
sounds
man.
really good. We last weekend we made a really quick trip to Syracuse to move the oldest back up there for the final year of grad school, and we actually went to two places that I had gone to back in the spring that we really liked. We did a Mexican joint called Alto Cinco, and I had a burrito that was like the size of a loaf of bread, and it was just the California. I mean, it's kind of weird to see me go with something that's technically, I guess, vegetarian almost, because yeah, it was a California burrito, no meat in it whatsoever, but had plenty of queso covering it up to make it good. And the next morning we hit the Rise and Shine breakfast place that I had been to in the spring, and I got this. I told myself I was going to get something different, but I went right back to the well and had the pork belly Benedict that I got there the last time, because it was. When you have a food that you think about, like just randomly months later, I thought, yeah, I need to have that again. So, so that's what we got that, and enjoyed it. It was really good. We also Sunday when we got back, since we got back a day earlier than we thought, we ended up at the Woodland Arts Fair, which in Central Kentucky area, it's a big 2-day. Just what it sounds like, a big art fair with primarily a whole lot of stuff I can't afford. Lots of really cool art, paintings and sculpture and photography, and you see some really unique stuff there. But there's always some good food and that kind of thing. I tried a little. There was a meadery out of Paris, Kentucky. I was there, so I had a mead. Drawing a blank off the top of my head what it is now. We'll put a picture. It was it had blueberry, I think, and bourbon, and kind of kick to it, but very good. Always fun to see places like that popping up. I wasn't expecting to see those guys, but then we hit Kentucky Native Cafe after the art fair for lunch, which is always one of my favorites, and it's another vegetarian spot, which is kind of odd that it's one of my favorite places in Lexington to eat, and it's just an oasis because it's all outdoor seating. You're under a canopy of trees, and literally that day temperatures were low 90s, and under those trees you just couldn't feel the heat. So always a good meal there. I can't complain about anything I get at Kentucky Native for sure. But what else you got?
We did a cooking class. It was more of a kind of let's go have some fun, eat some good food thing. But we did a cooking class a couple days ago at Stuardo's, the olive oil company. I think Stuart has maybe 4 or 5 locations throughout the state. I know he's got 2 in Lexington, or maybe 3. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But basically you have a trained chef, who comes in and he'll tell you, okay. Well, first of all, Stuardo's posts the menu for the following month, the following cooking class, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks prior to. So we had been looking, and neither of us could come to an agreement on a menu. And then we found this one, and we're like, this is a one. So on the menu was skillet ribeye with chimichurri sauce. And you make all of the ingredients right there table side. You mix them all with all of the various olive oils and the spices and stuff like that. Then there was a blackberry ginger barbecue pork tenderloin, which is one that we cooked, because there was probably about 50 people in the class. And so we were like, well, why aren't we cooking the steak and the pork and the potatoes and the dessert? And he was like, well, if all of you all cook the same thing, we'd be here all night. So, okay, that makes sense. So, what you do is you pick one of the meats that you want to do, and then some other folks do the other meat, some other folks do the potatoes, and then some others do the dessert. The potatoes were rosemary and leek potatoes, and all of these are cooked in a skillet. And then the dessert was sweet raspberry quesadilla, and it was very good. So basically, we marinated the pork tenderloin, let it marinate for about 10 minutes, and then we started it while the others are cooking the steak and some are cooking potatoes, and it was fun. It was a fun night. The best part of it all is all that is cooked is put on a table, and then everybody goes through and samples everything. And there's plenty left over, and some people even took some, leftovers home. So it was $65 a person, a lot of food, a lot of wine.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk through the door, they fill you a glass, and then the drinks keep coming. So it was pretty fun night, I have to admit. So
yeah, I definitely want to get in on that. We're gonna, and you said they mentioned there what the menu is for the next month, and that it sounds pretty good. So I might look and see, depending on when that is.
It's a good date night.
Yeah,
it's a really good date night.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, and and you're kind of in the same boat. I mean, it's not like I definitely with my wife, we don't need a cooking class, but it just breaks you out of the the doldrums of cooking the same stuff all the time, and it's also
different.
Just a little something different, a little something fun to do. You're always wondering, what can we go do tonight, and 9 times out of 10 you end up sitting at home watching TV. And so if you make plans ahead of time and say, hey, we're going to go do this,
and she's not much of a by her own admittance, she's not much of a meat kind of person, but she did like the steak. She wasn't real high on the pork tenderloin that we cooked, but I thought it was really good. Had a good taste, and she loved the potatoes and especially the quesadilla. Quesadilla had a really good taste to it, and I'm not a big raspberry fan.
Yeah,
but and as a dessert, you're going a quesadilla, but I'm telling you, it worked.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if I can't squeeze one of those out. Stuardo's in Lexington. I had, I went before the Postmodern concert. My brother-in-law and I, we went. He had never been to Buddha Lounge in Lexington, so I took him to Buddha Lounge. I got my staple there, which is the Thai Penang curry. We always get that in a sushi roll, so I had that in a spicy tuna roll. He got a tempura platter, so it was like crab meat, shrimp, and then all the vegetables. Everything on the plate was tempura battered and fried.
Wow. I do like that.
Yeah, that was good.
That's good stuff.
And then I went also then on Thursday night, I went to the soft reopening of KS Bar in Lexington, which for those unfamiliar, there's a bar in Lexington called KS Bar. It's an offshoot of KSR, which is Kentucky Sports Radio, a local media entity that kind of became a juggernaut over the last, 10, 12 years. They got to be a fairly prominent player in breaking and being a part of Kentucky sports news. But their restaurant that opened up, I don't know how long the restaurant's been open, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But back in the spring, they announced that they were going to be closing for a remodel and revamp of the menu. And I got to admit, I was one of many people who thought that was just code for we're never going to reopen. And which kind of surprised me because the place, especially game days, and for big major sporting events, is always busy. But anyway, they had a soft opening to test out their new menu, and it was primarily people who are big fans of the show and listeners of the show. I've got a buddy who's a big fan, and he had purchased a table, so he invited me along. And interestingly enough, Matt Jones, who owns the place, he was making some announcements to the crowd, and he more or less said we had to have some serious conversations amongst ourselves. Did we want to reopen this place?
Oh, wow.
And he didn't really elaborate as to why, but ultimately he said, this is a place where Kentucky fans enjoy coming together and commiserating and celebrating together. And so, I'm glad they reopened, even though I can count on one hand the number of times I've been there since they've been open.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they reopened.
Well, you know how it is in any business, but especially, or so I've heard. I've never operated a restaurant, but especially a restaurant, I've heard it's really, really tough.
It's just brutal
because the margin is very, very slim.
Mm-hmm.
The price of what you pay for the food versus the price
they make all their money on alcohol.
I'm sure
that's where they make.
I'm sure
that's where just about any restaurant makes its money is alcohol.
But
so
I'm a little surprised to hear that. But kudos to them for hanging in.
Yeah, I'm glad they did not close because, like I said, even though it's not a place that I have frequented often, I know a lot of people, especially diehard Kentucky fans who maybe can't get into a basketball game or something like that. They know that they can go to KS Bar and watch a game and be surrounded by 99% of the people in there are going to have the same rooting interest as you do. So, but I failed to take a picture of the burger that I got. I got a bacon jam burger. It was very good. But they brought out a platter of their appetizers, and everything on the appetizer platter was new. Now they've had wings before, but they've had new treatments for these wings. But they had tater kegs, which I was a big fan of. They were giant tater tots stuffed with cheese and I think bacon and who knows what else. But those were pretty good. The pretzels, the soft pretzels were very good, and then the wings, of course, were solid. I liked their wings before, so I'm glad they didn't mess with those too much because I felt like that was a selling point for them. But
there used to be a picture hanging in there of me.
Yeah, and I had already
Not that
left.
I'm tooting my own horn, but there was a picture of me and Matt interviewing Drake at a Big Blue Madness.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because Ryan Lemon, who is one of the co-hosts of the show and I think one of the minority owners of the restaurant, has sent me a picture of it before, prominently displayed where they do their radio shows. And I'm like, oh, dear.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. Yeah. I texted Dion to see if it was still hanging up there and take a picture and send it to me. I've never seen it.
I had already left at that point, unfortunately. So we'll have to go back in there. We may have to go together. Go in there and check it out and see. But
when hell freezes over.
Yeah. All right. Well, I also I'm gonna shout out. I'll shout out the other couple of places that I had this week. I hit for lunch one day at work. Again, I hit my Watan Mediterranean Grill, and I'm telling you, if you are a Mediterranean food fan, whether it's kebabs or I think they do gyros. I've never gotten one there, but Watan does a lunch special through the week that is like $9.50. By the time you tack on tax and tip, you might spend $12. But the amount of food you get in this platter is just ridiculous. It's everybody knows the standard carry-out containers that are the fold-over like styrofoam things. I mean, you almost cannot get the lid closed on this thing, and it's weighs probably 3 pounds when they hand it to you. I can't eat it all. I mean, if I had any self-restraint whatsoever, I would eat half of it and then bring the rest of it home. But I try stubbornly to go get through the whole thing, and then I can't, and end up throwing a pretty decent amount of food away. But yeah, this place, so good, and it's just made even better by the fact that the guy who runs it, I need to learn his name. I feel bad that I haven't, but he's such a nice guy. I mean, he always asks.
His name is Jim.
I don't know. Well, he doesn't look like a Jim, so I'll just say that. But anytime somebody who comes in and immediately, they want to ask you, how's your day going? And I don't think he's just doing it as a perfunctory, hey, how you doing, man? It's like, hey, are you having a good day today? And it's like he's actually expecting you to give him a little bit more than a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
So just always really good. They just kind of radiate good energy when you go in there. So I love those folks. Highly recommend Watan Mediterranean Grill. You go out Clay's Mill in Lexington, and it's off of Keithshire Way. There's a shopping center up there. Several good restaurants up there, as a matter of fact. So recommend all those. And then an hour or so ago, hour and a half ago, before we even started recording, my wife and I, we took the doors off the Jeep and hit the back roads, drove about 35, 40 minutes over to Lexington and went to Windy Corner Market.
Great place.
Fantastic little spot.
Weta Michael.
Yeah, she's a local chef extraordinaire who owns, 7 or 8 different restaurants. And what's really cool about them is they all kind of have their own vibe. They're not all the same. It's not all the same type of food. There's a couple of menu items that might have a little bit of overlap from spot to spot, but Windy Corner leans kind of heavy on the Louisiana inspired po' boy sandwiches, which I got the Kentucky Colonel po' boy tonight. It was a fried chicken tender over shaved ham with lettuce and tomato, and I think some honey mustard type sauce. But that was,
unless you get their breakfast.
Really good. Yeah.
Their breakfast is phenomenal.
Yeah. Their breakfast is everything's. I mean, I've never had anything bad in there, So,
and what's cool about that place is, like, we're located in the heart of horse country, but when you go over there, there are so few seats inside that you're going to be sitting outside looking at horses.
Yeah,
because on 2 sides of the restaurant, it backs up to horse farms, and there are horses literally.
Looking over the fence.
Yeah,
right.
What are you guys eating over there?
Yeah, and on the drive over, I mean, we purposely, because we took the doors off the Jeep,
Yeah.
we didn't want to drive on the interstate. We wanted to kind of tool through the countryside, and we took a route that, took us past Spendthrift Farm, Dixiana Farm, which are 2 of the legendary farms in thoroughbred racing. But it's just literally, it's one farm after another. I did see a for sale sign on the farm that appeared to be right next door to Spendthrift. There was a for sale sign for 63 acres. So if you got a few dollars,
it's going to take a few.
63 acres right next to Spendthrift Farm. That I don't have enough zeros,
8 digits at least.
Easily. It would take a lot to get that one, but we enjoyed that, and we took a little bit different route on the ride home, but really close to the restaurant. We did pull over and spend a little time petting on some horses, and they had some yearlings out there, and the yearlings, it took them a little bit to warm up to us, and it's kind of funny because the mamas are a little bit guarded. They get between you, of course you're separated by the fence, but even the mamas they shield the babies a little bit, and until you pet on them and kind of earn their trust. And if you've never gotten up close and personal with a full-grown thoroughbred, you don't realize how big. I mean, we know, of course, because we're in Kentucky. We've been around horses. Horses are big, man. They are big, and they can be a little bit intimidating.
Well,
when
you don't just stick your hand out there like,
Right.
You think she's going to let me rub her nose.
Yeah.
You might come back with 4 digits.
Yeah, you've got to be gentle. I mean, we did rub their noses, but we typically start by, I use the same approach I use with a dog. I kind of hold my hand out a little bit so that they can smell a little bit, but then I usually go up pretty high, between the eyes and start high.
Take
and rub
the mouth
down,
out of play.
Yeah, rub down the bridge of their nose, and you don't do anything. You don't make any sudden movements. That's for sure, because you don't want them to. You don't want to startle them. They're very skittish for the most part. So, but by the time we got finished, a couple of the yearlings, they'd come around a little bit and let us rub on them a little bit. Cool. So anyway,
and yearlings means babies.
Yeah, little babies. They were all born, probably back early in the spring.
Everybody who's a horse has a birthday on January 1.
Yep.
Every single horse's birthday is January 1.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
So anyway, well,
that's for bookkeeping purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, we could talk a lot about the way that works, but so we're going a little bit different route tonight with our
got
beverage.
Me a glass.
I've got you a glass
because I don't want to. What if I don't like it?
Well, we've already established Steve's probably not going to like this. So this
hold on.
There we go. Twist off caps. So we talked about this a little bit last week. Ale 81. This is a local. Well, we'll say local. It's Winchester, Kentucky, which is about 40 minutes from here.
They hate when you call it Winchester Swamp Water.
Yeah, it is a legendary ginger ale type beverage. Out of Kentucky, and a few years ago they started doing these specialty releases where they were doing different flavors. They've done a blackberry, they've done an orange, they've done a straw melon, but this year they decided to go in and make a pawpaw version. Which, if you don't know what a pawpaw is, they kind of sum it up for you on the label in print or in quotations. It's the Kentucky banana.
Yeah,
and pawpaws. I know they're indigenous to Kentucky. Do they grow? I'm sure they've spread at this point to other areas, but they are definitely
for sure.
Yeah, but they are definitely a lot of pawpaws in Kentucky. But I've not been a huge fan of the different flavored L8s over the last few years.
Paw.
Yeah, but this is I like this one.
Do you?
All
right.
I've had it before. Full disclosure, I had it before tonight. I had it, and so I thought I'd spring this on Steve. And like I said, he's not a Ale 8 ginger ale fan.
It's like Mountain Dew, but only a little more bitter.
It's got a bite to it because of the ginger
there you go.
aspect for sure.
But I do like Mountain Dew.
This one,
All right.
the addition of the pawpaw makes it sweeter. When you smell it, you definitely get a banana. You get a banana on the nose. You get banana, but I also feel like there's also a little bit of peach, maybe some pear. It's more banana and pear to me.
Glad you gave me a glass.
Oh man, I just can't believe I can't make him a fan. I feel like
There you go.
I feel like you need to be an L8 fan to enjoy this, even though it doesn't have the same ginger bite. But when I tried this the first time, I immediately, because I'm a bourbon drinker, not quite to the same level as I've been a craft beer drinker, but
tastes flat.
It does. I think the sweetness makes it takes a little bit of that edge off, because at least with Ale 8, the classic Ale 8, the ginger does give it a little bit more of a bite. There's a little bit more of a carbonated bite. But I rarely, when I'm drinking bourbon, I'm usually drinking bourbon on an ice cube or two, pretty much just straight. Very rarely will I mix it, but occasionally I will throw a splash of Ale 8 in my bourbon. And the first time I tasted this one, I immediately thought, I think this would be a good candidate to mix with bourbon, because I did a cocktail with bourbon a couple years ago using pear nectar, simple syrup, something else. But anyway, I just thought this had enough similarities that it would make a good candidate to mix. We can do that. Now my ice is all melted, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I may need to. Let's
just down the melted part, down the water.
I could do that. All right, so that's still pretty wet. So anyway, we'll
big old bottle of bourbon over here. I'm like, what's that for?
So the bourbon, and some of my bourbon friends will probably give me a hard time about this, but this is my everyday bourbon that I buy at Costco. It's the Evan Williams bottled in bond. 1.75 liter, otherwise known as a handle, is $26 at Costco, which is dirt cheap. And when I first tried this bourbon, I thought, I've just got a cheap palate, but this bourbon actually has taken a bronze medal at the World Whiskey Awards a couple years now, up against bottles that are $100 bottles. So maybe it's not such a bad bourbon. I like it. I don't think you have to spend a fortune to get a decent bourbon. So I get this one more than just about anything else, mainly because it is cheap. Therefore, you can drink a little more of it. And this is the first time I've actually mixed it with the Pawpaw L8. So we'll see. We'll see it might take a little experimentation to get the proportions right, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. I could use a little bit more ice. That's too melty. So we'll try that maybe next time. Maybe we'll start the show next time with a
There you go.
cold beverage. But yeah, I thought this would be a good mixer to go with the bourbon, and I believe it is. I'll probably get Steve to be an IPA drinker before I'll get him to be an Ale drinker. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's fun.
that's a no for me.
So you're saying you don't want to do a flight of all of the different flavored L8s, and
Now, my oldest daughter, they love L8. They love it all.
Yeah.
They love any and all flavors, especially the pawpaw.
Well, and I went
They have a pawpaw tree growing in their yard.
Well, I went yesterday actually and bought a case of the pawpaw L8 because my Syracuse student, L8, they don't distribute L8 to other states, so definitely not to New York. So
Are you having it shipped up there?
No, I'm just going to hang on to it until they're coming home for fall break. So we'll sit on it, and if I don't drink it all, I'll probably go get another case of it just so I'm sure that
There
we
you
got
go,
plenty.
brother.
But
It's all you.
I'm going to send it home with him so he can drink it. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. We'll
If you want
week,
to, let me just mention if you want to check us out on YouTube, we do have video associated with this, so we're on YouTube. Just search us out.
Yeah, we'll throw lots of pictures up tonight of the various things that we did this week. Because we should have several things. I tried to be good and take lots of pictures.
Likewise, for a change.
I think it does makes the video kind of cool just to see what we're talking about a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to describe a really good sandwich I had 2 hours ago, but to see it makes you be like, oh yeah, I kind of would like to go there and try that. So we'll get together next week. Or we'll try to get together a little bit earlier and see if we can't. I don't know. With the way we're recording today, we won't necessarily have UK football unless we wait until the first part of the following week. So we've kind of screwed ourselves up here. But
Mark Stoops,
we'll manage.
I forgot to mention, Mark Stoops talks for the first time on Monday, game week kind of press conference tomorrow. Or tomorrow is Monday, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have some of that too.
Yeah.
Heading into Kentucky's first game on Saturday against Toledo.
Yep, sounds good. All right, until then, try to get out there and drink some L8 if you can find it. The Pawpaw L8, it's delicious, despite what Steve says. And there's lots of good sports and music and everything else. But until next time, just try to get out there and try something new. We'll see you then.